Hey, love, before we jump in, I want to make you aware that Tools of Transformation is open as of now, and it holds all the exercises that I wish I would have known when starting on my spiritual journey, even before, because would I have known how much it helps my daily life to reset my nervous system, to release stress, release anger, to energetically make conversations go my way before I even have them, or what mirror work can do, my life would have been shifted. So I really invite you to check that out. Link is in the captions below. And now we jump straight into the episode to have another wonderful conversation about how to get to this point of empowerment, how other women did it, what tools they used, what perspective shifts they found for themselves, how they navigated their life to come back to their empowerment. Enjoy the episode. Hello, beautiful souls. I am so excited for another episode of About Her. And today I have the wonderful Faye with me. Thank you so much for being here. I am delighted to have you. And I would love to speak with you about channeling, about the energies that we just discussed previous. But before we jump into all of that, I would love to ask you to introduce yourself so that people can get a bit of a feeling for you and your wonderful work.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Anna. Thanks for having me here. And yeah, I love being here today to share whatever needs to be spoken about. So, my name is Faye. I am based in Cornwall, in England, and I am a channeler and healer. So, what I do is become a channel for information and healing to help people meet themselves. So, holding a frequency where an individual can come into a space or connect with me to find their path, find their channel, and the reason why they are here, and to maybe work through some of those blockages that might be in the path that need a bit of healing or a bit of attention. So that's why I'm here. This is why I'm here on this earth plane at this time, and it's lovely to be here.
That's so beautiful. And I feel it's so, we are at a time where so many of us are actually like, I feel on the brink to say like, okay, I'm actually doing what I'm here for, but what is it? And sometimes we know if we need a little guidance, and it takes our hand to say like, let's explore together. So it's such an amazing that you do, and offering the people guidance to back to themselves is essentially how I would describe it. And I think that's just very beautiful.
Yes, it's amazing how we always know, and it's pre-agreement before coming into this earth plane. And sometimes that pre-agreement could be something like maybe you just need to rest this time. Maybe you have a role to play where you need to hold space for others, or maybe you're a fantastic community person, whatever that is. But I always find it's usually in our story is the key.
Yeah.
Something that we've been through, whether it's from this lifetime or past lifetime, that we actually have that information. It's actually stored in our body. So my work is not telling you anything new. It's just a reminder, because we come into this lifetime knowing, and then we have all this programming, and society comes into it, and all that sticky stuff. I like to call it sticky stuff, and sometimes it cannot be sticky. We might enjoy it. Who knows? It's just your journey, but there comes to a point where we have to start unlearning quite a lot of it to remember the why at the start of our life, of when we were born.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned the unlearning. That's something that I stumbled upon a few years ago, and I was like, that's the key to so much, because like you said before, it might feel sticky. It might like, I have a good job, I have good colleagues, I have a wonderful life, I enjoy what I do. And then all of a sudden, I feel like maybe there is something missing, but it's not actually easy to pinpoint what it is. How to, peel away a layer that you have no idea what it is and what's behind there. So I think it's really beautiful to look at it in a way of unlearning certain programming or masks and really see like, who is there behind that? Who am I? What did I here for? What should I learn? Or what wound did I want to heal? However you want to phrase it. So I think it's
Yeah.
it's beautiful that we have the part of like the life before that peeling back, because it actually brings us more close to what we want to do. That's how I've always see it unfold.
Absolutely. And I think, there's something really in that, what you've said. And I always think of it as how you feel when you approach something. Like, how do you feel when you connect to something? What is that feeling? And one thing that I've learned in my journey and with my clients is that usually the thing doesn't require any thought. It just happens. It
Mm.
just happens automatically. There's an energy there that just connects. There's some sort of an alignment, and it feels really organic. And it feels like, when you should be somewhere, or you're meant to be having that conversation, or you made a decision and it was the right one because it felt really right. It's that feeling. And for me, that comes from the body where your soul lives. Not so much the mind. The mind will want to try and create a plan and analyze and, create all this stuff that we're used to when we've been in a society that's been very driven by the mind. But actually, that knowing is in here, it's in your heart. And when we start to feel that connection to certain things, that starts to really create the roadmap or the why behind that connection, that leaves us curiosity to maybe if there's an invitation there for you to explore. And it's
Yes.
not hard work. It's not a struggle to get to that point. And it's really funny, as human beings, we want the struggle sometimes. And I know definitely I've been like that as well. It's got to be hard. It's really got to be like that hardship in that programming that we've been born into, that we just accept that this is life. But actually, that's the unlearning, in my opinion, anyway.
Yes, I totally agree on that. And I love, because the card I pulled for today talks about answers coming effortlessly. And I feel like, well, that's exactly it. The learning of the programming of hardship equals success. That's something that I've took a lot of time to, become conscious
Mm.
about. It doesn't have to be hard. And like you said, things come effortlessly. The way we, like if everything's working fine, the way we breathe is effortlessly. The way we move our body should be effortlessly. And the way we live our life can also be effortlessly. But somehow I feel we
Mm-hmm.
humans have formed the belief that things need to be really hard so that you're worthy of getting the reward, or that you prove that you've done all the things and know all the stuff, when actually it's so much more about being here and being present and opening up the channel than it is about the logical part and about the how what is my next step. And a beautiful thing that we touched on before we hit record that I would love to come back to is the energetics of what you said, like when leading, let the body lead the way our body feels in certain situations. Because you mentioned before how different it feels if you work with your clients, and how energized you feel after a few sessions, compared to how maybe more drained you feel after working in a 9 to 5, and how different the energy can be. I think that's exactly what you said. The body tells you, like, this is really effortlessly, this is giving me energy. And the other thing
Mm.
might be more taking energy. And so I think that it's actually a very clear sign, isn't it?
It really is. But I don't think I would have got to that point if I didn't work on my body. So as a channeler, it's very head up energetics, connecting to the cosmos, allowing messages to come through. But there's a point in my journey where I started to do somatic work and breath work, which helped me to clear stuff in my body that I was holding that I wasn't aware of. And for me, body work, somatic body work, breath work has just really been a key into being able to really feel more into the energetics of my life. Because before I was just like Tasmanian devil, like just running around doing all these things, just thinking, I've got so many ideas, I've got to do this. No, I'm invincible. Got all this energy. But actually, when I started to work on my body and to feel into what was in my reality, I was able to really feel that connection of things that actually didn't resonate anymore. And actually start to wonder, why is this taking up so much of my energy? And why does this thing not? So that become my guide, and that is my guide to this day. And I think it can really help you to pinpoint where you're meant to be and actually, feel into what's meant to be in your day-to-day life and what isn't. Or actually
Yeah,
give you that understanding to start to work with the tools maybe to explore that with the body.
which is so beautiful, isn't it? Because it's, every answer that we could possibly need already within us. Our body already knows all the answers, but somehow we're just asking the mind. I feel sometimes it's like you said,
Mm.
especially as a channeler, but also if you've been raised in Western culture where everything's like really logical and, gone
Yeah.
to classical education where you just go from one logical step to the next logical step. We are so much in our headspace and feel we kind of have forgotten the wisdom of the body and how it stores information and how it can like give you answers by, I'm a sacral generator in human design. Like I always lean forward when something is like a full body yes. And
Mm.
the are so clear. It's everything is just there. And we have maybe forgotten to just ask the body, because what you shared, the way we see that things are not resonating, maybe due to like energy that is drained or the way you feel in the evening, it's actually a very clear communication that you get once you have become aware and once you're also allowing in that new wisdom. And do not try to override it with the logic, because you could always do. And that's how we have collectively learned to do so. It's like oh, you're tired. You just work through that, or you take a coffee or a Coke or whatever you do. Or, you're on your period. Well, life needs to go on. You need to, work in a linear way through your month.
Yeah.
If your body wants that or not. It's kind of like we have been taught to like always be leveling at that high level and bringing that result when the body says like, no, I'm tired. That's maybe not the right thing for me. Or no, I feel drained all the time. Maybe it's an invitation to say, is this still the way I want to go? And I feel it's so clear once we allow that energy in. So I wonder how you have been able to become aware and to make the shift, because I think it takes a lot of courage to shift from doing things logically to saying like, okay, now I'm listening to actually what my body says, actually allowing my feelings to feel them and to guide me.
Yeah, really good question. Thank you. First thing I do is I wake up in the morning and I feel my body. So I might want to go, right, you've got this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. But actually, I bring my awareness to my body. So I'm feeling, my legs, my upper half. And I'm tapping into that. I'm giving myself some time in the morning. I'm giving myself that time before the day starts as a ritual to really feel what my body needs. Is that stretching? Is that going for a walk? Is there some movement that I need to do? Right. So actually, do I need to sit down and just be still for a sec? And, during the day, I'm just constantly bringing awareness to it and just sort of asking what it needs. And usually it'd be my mind looking at my to-do list. But it's like kind of like, like the Apple Watches, if you've got one at home, tells you to breathe. It like reminds you to breathe, a little screen that comes up. It's almost like taking that, but taking your own wisdom of your own body instead of the tech, even though it can be useful. And I totally get that. But almost just feeling your body and going, what does it need? And using breath work I found amazing, just to, when I'm feeling tension in my body, to become curious and bring curiosity to that area through breathwork or somatic practices, to understand, why do I feel heavy in this area? What's the heaviness in my system that needs my attention? Because sometimes the body can, when we tap into it more, it can feel quite heavy sometimes, and we're like, so tired and gosh, I need to rest. But actually rest sometimes isn't enough. We kind of need to come down into those deeper layers within the body to bring awareness to an emotion that's stuck there. And when we bring awareness to the emotion and the body shares its wisdom and says, hey, you got a lot of trauma in your hips. This is why, you're really aching all the time. And you're like, okay. And you start to learn the script that's in your body to meet that in order to release it. You then create the lightness in your body too. So it's kind of like the day-to-day stuff. But when it's something that doesn't shift, for me, it's using those somatic practices to actually understand my body. Like, what is the script? What's the pattern that's running? Because as a channeler, there needs to be a bridging of the information to come into the earth plane with the body. This is where the action comes from. So the body is like that bridging point from, we get all these ideas and inspiration that gets dropped down into us. But actually, if our body is disconnected and we're not feeling it or we're not clearing it, how can we anchor that into this reality? So there's the day-to-day stuff, like I said, of, getting up and feeling good and listen to the body. But actually, there's that soul purpose work of how can I bridge that in through my body that might be required for some.
Yeah. I love the picture of the bridge, and I think it's like so on point to invite all these parts, because of what we discussed before is like this, we're so much in our heads collectively, and the body is often like something kind of separate. And I agree, here to, bring down these beautiful ideas, channel them down through our filter, and then bring them out into the world. But if we are disconnected from our body, or if it stores a lot of trauma, which we all have, some more than others, then this filter is kind of like, it's different, it's more heavy. Maybe things can go through as much, or they're like shaded in a way. So is it really you who speaks, or is it an old version? Is it a trauma that is like influencing the way you filter the information and bring it out into the world? So I think it's really beautiful to take the limit of the bridge and invite all parts of ourselves into this experience, and not just quote unquote stay at one, because I feel we humans, it's about the duality. It's like about body and mind. It's like about spirit, but also being grounded and bringing this all together. We hold the capacity to have light and shadow, but sometimes we lean so much on one side that we kind of forget that it's the mixture that brings the joy, and also like sparks the magic. And the movement and the breath work that brought you to this, that the slowness, I think it's really a beautiful key to unlock all these features and to kind of get to know yourself on a different level, isn't it? Because if you let your body lead the way and really feel like there's heaviness, oh, there's maybe a tension, what's the language, what does my body, my soul want to tell me through this? Because there is a sign in it. Yes, we could take, a pill, a painkiller or whatever to numb it, but it's still, the communication is there, wanting to express itself and show ourselves something about ourselves. So it's very deep, deep, deep getting to know you work that you do when you work with your body instead of against, which I think is kind of a revolutionary thing in this day and age, to like really invite your body in, invite your feelings in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a big one, and it takes some people some time. It definitely took me some time. I don't think there's any rush with that connection. The nervous system might want to be in a rush, but then if we know that the nervous system is in fight or flight, then maybe we need to work with that and say, hey, there's no rush. But I think it's just really honing in on the power and the wisdom that comes from the body. Yes, to clear it, and yes, to clear trauma. Actually, your power and your soul information that's in there as well. So there's a real deep layers to this. And there's such a calling for us in this year to have the freedom of expression and authenticity of what that is. And there's such an invitation from that. And that's why many people are starting to link the body now into their practice, or, working with it to clear it, because they want to anchor into this gift that's inside the body. And it's fascinating how much wisdom comes from it, not just in the tension, but in the guidance, in the feeling. And I see it as a key, like the body is the key to your Akashic record or your soul book, whatever you want to describe it, whatever it looks like for you. And the more that we can tap into that and bring it here in our reality, the more alignment happens. Like, I noticed so much when I started doing somatic practices and breath work, how much alignment came into my life. It's like the universe was just giving, and I was letting go, and I was receiving. However, there is days where this doesn't happen because maybe my mind gets involved, or I've had to be really busy, and then I have to come back to my body and say, oh, I haven't been here for a while, or a few days. You know, it is a practice, but when those alignment times have come in, so much is available. Like, we don't have to struggle to get something, because actually the alignment in our body with whatever messages come through, or that soul alignment that happens, things just come to you. And it's really interesting to see that potential in the energetics of ourself, in the world of energetics in terms of modality, also how this reality is made as well with energy.
Yeah, it's I feel it's like a kid in a candy shop where you think, oh, that's here, that's there, that's exciting, that's I want to explore this, and there's so much, we can we can connect so many dots, which is such a process. And as you said, like the body is a key part of that to really anchor all or bring all these different threads together to form kind of a new awareness of ourselves and how everything works, how everything intertwines. And you mentioned the energetics of the year, which I think is really interesting because when we're recording this, we're close to the first full moon in Aries. So it's kind of like a very beautiful spring energy, all new time. And I think this year too is a very special one that brings all of us more to our authentic core, and that kind of helps us. You mentioned just we don't need to get anywhere. And I had this picture of we collectively try to, go somewhere from here to there. We're here, we don't want to be here, we want to be there. So we're collectively like moving instead of what for me feels like having the awareness that, oh, I can be here and I can let things come to me. I can summon all things to me that are necessary for me right now, for the collective. And so, yeah, I would love to know more about how you perceive what this year brings us in terms of authentic expression, like the connection to ourselves, the connection to our gifts, and what we essentially for.
Yeah, sure. So with all that in mind of this year, there's just such a invitation for us to step forwards in what we believe, what we feel resonance in, what we connect with. And a lot of things in our life will start to fall away, things that we once resonated with. And it's really quick. It's really, really quick because there's just everything's so fluid this year. Time has gone out the window. So some things might feel quite fast and quite rapid. And we're like, didn't expect this. And things change so quickly. And this is a sign that we're going through this kind of shifting into this formation of self into our channel, whatever that is. And it can be quite a lot because the mind will want to come in and say, I didn't expect this. What's all this going on? This doesn't match my Excel spreadsheet. So, it's those feelings can come up, but actually there's an invitation to stay in your body in those moments, to let it guide you, because there's a natural flow in the collective that we are each part of. We have these roles. And the more that we let go and we allow this flow to happen, we don't actually have to do anything other than to feel. So the main thing here is actually feeling regularly, how has my day been, or what did I resonate with, or just taking that time to really connect with that. Because often what we'll find is that actually the things that became in resonance or came into alignment weren't actually things that we had planned. They just happened. And this is the big switch in the sort of thoughts and the feelings and the kind of programming this year, is that we start to learn that things just happen. And we actually have the opportunity to come into our power with that, because if we are seeing things unfold naturally for us because we are in alignment with how we are feeling, what else could be available?
Mhm.
And once we start learning that makeup and noticing that I had this incredible day, or I met the right person, or I had this idea, or like, you start to feel this abundance of joy and play and fun. And actually, in the play and fun is how we're meant to be living. You know, on other planets, this is the makeup. This is how we thrive on other planets, right? But here it's like we're anchoring that remembrance of maybe in past lives, or actually connecting to that fun and play that's available for each and every one of us, to actually find what it is that resonates with us. And the more that we're in that energy of letting go, letting the day come to us, seeing that alignment, feeling that play, feeling that joy, that's what really anchors us into this collective shift of energy that's happening this year. Because there is so much freedom in how we create, and we're being reminded that we are the creator. Because we'll always resonate with our soul contract, because that's what we come in with. So it's always going to be in alignment to that in terms of what we create. So actually, why don't we just have fun with it if we know that? You know, that's what's available this year. On the flip side of that, the more that we connect with our body, the more we'll know when things are the right time for us as well. And I really want to touch on this, because I think many of my clients and people I speak to, including myself, and this is where the learning came from and the message, was that sometimes we get all this connection and feeling and something feels really right. But actually, when we come into the body, in terms of when that should happen, if it feels off, we should listen to that, because maybe it isn't the right time. Because actually, this year is so fluid, and we're moving to a very fluid chapter in our human experience. And, you know, just because we get that feeling there in that moment doesn't mean you have to rush to get there, because that's your mind getting involved. Your body will know, it will just happen when it does. So it's really delayering so many scripts that we grew up in, you know, and embodied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I try to remember everything that, lit up. So we see what really came forth very much when you talked right now is this, like, let it just happen. It's kind of like the curiosity you mentioned. For me, it was almost this neutrality that came with it, to say, like, okay, everything's getting faster, everything gets more intense, everything gets more fluid, but we don't have to judge it. If we, like, meet that with curiosity and just say, like, okay, well, let's see what unfolds. Like you said, the rush comes from the mind, but the body is actually not needing to feel that if it's not there. So if we can, like, meet all these external things coming at us with neutrality and say, like, okay, well, how can I make this fun? How can I make this effortless? Which is a theme that is reoccurring in this talk. Like, how can we lean into the ease and effortlessness and flow of things and actually not react, but respond from an aligned place, not from a lack or a fearful or a, this is how it has been done before, this is how we need to do things, like the structured, but like actually leaning and saying, like, okay, well, let's see what comes up now. Let's see how I can meet that with curiosity. Let's see how I can make it fun and play. And that's the other thing that I would love to touch upon is the joy and the ease. I truly believe we're meant to have that here on earth too. And I just on the weekend had an experience where an older woman that I've got to know, she said, like, no, it's we need to not always have the fun and play. Life needs to be, sometimes you just need to do what needs to be done. And I was like, okay, well, thank you for the reflection of this old paradigm that is really, like, I feel like crumbling down right now. Because no, it can be fun. Yeah, things maybe need to be done, but it can be fun still. And so, like, really leaning into the fun and releasing these old constructs and structures of heaviness, of
Mm,
duty, of needing to do things a certain way, and leaning into how can I do things my way? How can I do it in an authentic, soul
mm,
and body aligned way? Because it's not so much about the action that needs to be done, it's about your approach to it and your way of doing it. And I think we
mm,
discussed about an hour, that woman and me, and we didn't like really found a common ground on it, but it was super interesting to see like how different paradigms play out, and to also see how much I've shifted out of
mm,
that. And I think that's essentially what you're just saying too, is like the fluidity. We can embrace it, and it can be so much fun. All this transition that is happening, all this transformation, all this, like,
mm,
unfolding of what wants to come out, and the shift can be so beautiful. And I feel that's
mm,
really a lot of people to hear, because change sometimes feels, of course, unfamiliar, but also scary. And I think we don't have to fear anything. I think this shift is really just bringing out more and more and more beauty. And I feel it's strongly necessary to express that more often, so that these old paradigms of fear can, be laid to rest. Very,
mm.
we don't need those
No,
anymore.
absolutely. Yeah, we don't. It's actually a really interesting point that you make there, because something that dropped in a few days ago, and a message that stayed with me for a little while, is that the human collective are just on this constant loop of repeating the same thing, the same patterns, just constantly go around on the loop. And there's actually an invitation for us to listen to our body, listen to our channel, to step out the loop, to create and form the new, which a lot of people refer to as the new earth, which some of you might have heard of. And in order for us to do that, it's really listening to our inner authenticity, because that expression of your authenticity is what's going to bring something new to the collective, to then get us out of this loop that we have been in for such a long time. It's kind of like, an example of it is, have you ever worked somewhere and you know something isn't working in wherever you're working, and someone just goes, "Oh, that's just how we do it," and it's like, but why can we can make it easier, we can make it, the process easier and work for everyone, but it's just a constant shutdown of like, that's just how we do it. And that's how I see the old paradigm. And for us now, there's an invitation to actually question things, actually be with the resonance in our body, and actually use our voices. Like, the voice is such a powerful tool this year in that expression as well. It's still like the bridging part from, the cosmic channel or your higher self coming into the body, like using your voice to actually say, this doesn't resonate, or why are we doing this, or sorry, what's the point in this again? Because we have to bring that forwards to question what we always have been doing, but also coming into the authenticity of self to bring something new to the table. And I'm really excited for this, because I don't know, for me anyway, it's like, when you listen to a song on your radio and it's like a copy of something, we're just constantly copying what's already done, already happened. But actually, we're going to start to see a change in that, where people are going to bring something new, because there's no fear, like you mentioned, around the authentic self. Because when it's so pure and aligned to the channel of self, it's just like there's no fear around that. It's like, I know what I'm doing, I know what I need to be doing, or there's this urge, when you just have an urge to go somewhere, or this urge to do something, that will become louder in that path for the individual. So I'm really excited to see all these beautiful creations and authenticity and expression that's going to come out this year around that, because I think we're also letting go of, the fact you need to have a course to do everything. All these like, structured confirmations of, you need to have this, you need to have that, you need to have your life like this in order to do that. People that are connected to their channel now are going, I'm just going to do it anyway, because I can, because it's my free will. and it feels right, it feels aligned. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of that, and the fear is being left in that old paradigm like you were talking about.
I'm really excited about that too. And I think we're seeing the glimpses of this already playing out, and it will be amplified so much more. And that's, that's such a beautiful time to witness. I'm always so grateful when I reflect back and I just like, oh my God, I'm here right now. I can, see that right now unfold, which is beautiful. Like a kid that is standing up the first time, very wobbly, trying to take the first step. It's such a precious and sometimes I feel we need to remind ourselves that we are in that state collectively because it feels unfamiliar. It feels kind of like, ooh, shaky. And it's so beautiful at the same time. And this expression of self and the like coming back to see like, how do I want to do it? And no, I'm not going into the old structures. I'm leaning not to something outside, but I'm leaning in to myself, into my alignment, into the way I want to do things. And then that's my guidance system instead of information from outside. I don't know if you hear it, but there's a lot of like fireworkers.
Yeah, that's okay.
So it's like really a coming back home and just, not just, but like coming back to our wisdom and empowering ourselves through our wisdom and our way to channel things down, to, reflect and mirror and communicate the universal wisdom through our lens, instead of saying like, okay, that's how we do it. That's the structure that is right, and then everything else is wrong. So I feel like this will like a prism. There will be so many different ways of doing things, and none of those have to be wrong or right, but they're all right. Like,
Yeah.
sounds really beautiful. So it's exciting
Yes, absolutely.
and it's beautiful. And I think we can all remind ourselves that there is nothing that we need to fear if we lean back into ourselves and see what's there. Because as we started, like, the body is always going to tell you the right way. So like you said, the way you wake up in the morning is like, let's just feel like how everything is feeling. We can always do that. We always have the ability to do that. And the more we utilize it, the more we can really get confident that there is always an answer to every question you have, and that nothing is kind of like really that scary that as the mind might perceive it in that moment. So I thank you so much
Yes.
for this wisdom. This is really so beautiful and so exciting. And I'm really looking forward to see how that year plays out, how we all shift and transform and come out the other end very differently.
Yes, absolutely. And I thank you so much for this time as well to share this to anyone that's listening. I guess just one thing to share before we kind of round things up is sometimes your channel could be something different to what you thought it was going to be, or it doesn't always have to be linked to something seen in spirituality, but everything has that spiritual connection. If it's your channel, it will channel a frequency that will touch people in ways that you didn't have to put a lot of effort into it. It just holds a frequency because it's right. So I think there's an invitation just to be open to whatever that is, because, we need the artists, we need the creatives, we need the nature lovers, we need the community people, we need whatever it is, just everyone connected to their heart and their channel. Whatever the execution it is what's needed. And there's something beautiful in that, in terms of letting go and seeing where you end up. So that'd just be my last words.
Oh, such beautiful ones. And I thank you for mentioning that, because I feel often it's like, oh, how does it look like if I channel? What is it? Am I doing it right? These questions coming up. So I thank you for holding the space for, there's uniqueness to how each and every one of us does it, and there is no wrong or right here either. So I agree, all the different shades and everything plays together then. So it's about the uniqueness and about the effortlessness and about really exploring where we feel drawn to, and then that's like the right things. So that's gonna
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So exciting. Thank you so much, Anna. And thank you, everyone who listens to this. Sending love.
Yeah. For your wonderful time and energy. And if people want to reach out to you and, connect with you more and connect with your wisdom, what's a good way to find you, to reach you? Is Instagram the best way to connect?
Yeah, so Instagram, so it's just Faye Channing Healing. I would give you my website, but it's changing. It will be faychanninghealing.com, but it's currently sensory to space. But Instagram would be the best way. So just Faye Channing Healing. And I've always kept that space as an open platform if someone wants to share something or message or I don't know, ask a question. You don't always have to book in with me to have a chat. So yeah, feel free to do that if it resonates.
Perfect. I love that you're keeping it open. I think it's really beautiful. So having the initial like question, getting it out there, and then finding out. I will link your Instagram below, and looking forward to your website when it's redone. And thank you so much for your time. I hope we speak very soon, and I'm really looking forward to see how everything is shifting and changing and what happens until then.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Anna. It's been lovely to have you in the space chatting as well.